Wild Talents, by Charles Hoyfort, Chapter 32G. In November 1898, Keely died. Clarence Bloomfield Moore, son of his patron, Mrs. Bloomfield Moore, short tens of thousands of dollars in his inheritance, because of Keely and his promises, rented Keely's house, and investigated. According to his findings, Keely was an unadulterated rascal. This is too definite to suit my notions of us phenomena. The unadulterated, whether of food we eat, or the air we breathe, or of idealism, or of villainy, is unfiendable. Even adultery is adulterated. There are qualms and other mixtures. Moore said that he had found the evidences of rascality. The motor was not the isolated mechanism that, according to him, the stockholders of the Keely Motor Company had been deceived into thinking it was. He had found an iron pipe and other tubes and wires that led from the motor to the cellar. Here was a large, spherical, metallic object. There were ashes. Imposture exposed. The motor had been run by a compressed air engine in the cellar. Anybody who has ever tried to keep a secret 24 hours will marvel at this story of an impostor who, against all the forces of revelation, such as gas men and coal men and other persons who get into cellars, against inquisitive neighbors, and, if possible, even more inquisitive newspaper men, against disappointed stockholders and outraged conventionalists, kept secret, for 24 years, his engine in the cellar. It made no difference what else came out. Taboo had, or pretended it had, something to base on. Almost all people of all eras are hypnotics. Their beliefs are induced beliefs. The proper authorities saw to it that a proper belief should be induced, and people believed properly. Stockholders said that they know of the spherical object, or the alleged compressed air engine in the cellar, because Keely had made no secret of it. Nobody demonstrated that by means of this object, the motor could be run. But beliefs can run. So meaningless, in any sense of organization, were the wires and tubes, that I think of Hendershot's statement that he had complicated his motor with leads, as he called them. Stones that have fallen in houses where people were dying, the rambles of a pan of soft soap, chairs that have moved about in the presence of poltergeist girls. But, in the presence of John Worrell Keely, there were disciplined motions of a motor. For 24 years there were demonstrations, and though there was much of the stir-up of accusations, never was Keely caught helping out a little. There was no red light, nor semi-darkness. The motor stood in no cabinet. Keely's stockholders were of a superior intelligence, as stockholders go, inasmuch as many of them investigated, somewhat, before speculating. They saw this solemn, big contrivance go around and around. Sometimes they saw sensational stunts. The thing tore thick ropes apart, broke iron bars, and shot bullets through a 12-inch plank. I conceive that the motivation of this thing was a wild talent, an uncultivated, rude, and unreliable power, such as is all genius in its infancy. That Keely operated his motor by development of mere willing, or visualizing, whether consciously, or not knowing how he got his effects, succeeding spasmodically sometimes, failing often, according to the experience of all pioneers, impostor and messiah, justifying himself in the midst of promises that came to nothing, because he could say to himself something that Galileo should have said, but did not say. Nevertheless it does move. This ends Charles Hoyfort's Wild Talents.